It's February already? Time sure flies when you're walking from one end of West Virginia to the other. Anyway, I sure could go for a break. We need a holiday or something. Hey, let's see what holidays there are in February. Oh, of course, Valentine's Day. Okay, since running into Mary Lou Gottwald all the way out here, or anywhere else for that matter, probably isn't in the cards, let's see if there's another holiday we can celebrate. Oh, hey, what's this? Fasnacht. Whoa! Swiss food, parade, masks, burning old man winter, dancing. Jeepers, this sounds right up my alley. Come on, Coyote, let's head to Helvetia, wherever that is. Let's go. Shortly after the Civil War, as immigration from Europe to America was on the rise, a group of Swiss and German-speaking immigrants known as the Grootlevarian, or the Grootly Society, who established themselves in Brooklyn, New York, decided to travel south to find a new place in the country that felt more like the homeland they were used to. One of the Grootly Society members, Eiler, explored various areas of the eastern West Virginia mountains and was awed by the stunning beauty of the countryside and just how much it reminded him of the areas the society had come from in Europe. Immediately after reporting his findings, a committee of 6 men was assembled, and those wishing to relocate departed Brooklyn by train on October 15, 1869. Golly, October 15th. I wonder if there was a big scout jamboree back then, too. But I digress. The group arrived in Clarksburg shortly after and began their trek of traveling into the mountains to find their new home. At that time, land was really inexpensive, and because of this, all of the settlers were able to purchase their own tracts of land, which ranged from a small house on a simple plot to huge farms of hundreds of acres. An area of approximately 100 acres was set aside at the center of the new community and parceled off into lots, which were reserved for skilled laborers and craftsmen in order to kickstart a full-fledged town. Around 1871, there was about 32 people living in the community. That same year, a new settler, C.E. Lutz, became the local land agent and began writing advertisements in English and German for newspapers across the country. In the articles, Lutz detailed the beauty and serenity of the settlement. New settlers came from various parts of the U.S. and Canada, and more directly from Switzerland and the surrounding countries. The influx brought more farmers, herdsmen, as well as many more skilled craftsmen and professionals such as masons, carpenters, painters, wagon makers, shoemakers, watchmakers, clothiers, and of course, cheesemakers. Soon there were musicians, teachers, ministers, and doctors. By 1874, the community's population had soared to 308, and just a year later, a health support association was organized. Over the years, the town prospered, and the old world Swiss and German cultures flourished, making it a beloved location to visit and celebrate the rich traditions and celebrations of the Germanic Americans living here. In the 1960s, Eleanor Malot and Dolores Baggerly dedicated themselves to bringing tourists to the town by highlighting the town's wonderful Swiss heritage. They founded the Hütte restaurant, an iconic yellow building at the edge of the town that welcomes all who visit and is certainly one of the most highly recognizable structures in our very own wasteland. Shortly after, the ladies authored a community cookbook titled Opus Guts vo Helvetia, and decided to introduce a grand traditional celebration, the annual Fasnacht Festival, a pre-Lenten festival to consume food and have one last hurrah before entering the Lent season, when all of that fasting has to happen. The festival ends with the wildly popular burning and effigy of Old Man Winter. Sound familiar? Well, it should. It's the very festival us Wastelanders love to participate in every February in Fallout 76. And boy, oh boy, Just wait till you see how extremely accurate the in-game version is to its real-world inspiration. So what do you say, folks? Ready to explore this amazing location? Well, let's get right to it and pay a visit to this charming and quirky little town known as Helvetia. And here we are, right on the main street that runs through Helvetia, Pickens Road, which in both the real world and the game is the main drag for the parade. Behind me, you can't miss the iconic Hutta House restaurant, or in the game, Freya's house. It's an identical in-game match down to the finest detail. In the real world, you can enjoy wonderful Swiss cuisine from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The food and the service are outstanding, and its old world charm is unmatched. So when you're visiting Helvetia, be sure to stop at the Hutta House and have a wonderful Swiss meal without having to worry about being interrupted by an angry Scorched. No sir, just wonderful happy people delighted to have you as their guest. Well, what do you say, Coyote? Let's get some bratwurst and check out the rest of the town. Directly across from the Hutta House, you'll spot the Blue House, which you'll immediately recognize from the game as another favorite hangout spot for our Scorched. But look at what an amazing in-game match this building is and how accurate to the detail the designers replicated it. It's simply amazing. Directly behind the Blue House is the field where you find the familiar bandstand. As you can see, it's in the exact same location and it's faithfully replicated for us Wastelanders. Now, there weren't any instruments set up just yet, but I bet come Fasnacht the bandstand will be in full swing. Well, hey you! Looks like Coyote wants to be a musician. You gonna play an instrument? What one would you play? The tuba? The banjo? As you can see, the in-game bandstand is situated as it is in the real world and is exactly the same size. Pretty cool, huh? Welcome to Helvetia Bandstand! Across the street from the bandstand, you'll spot the Pickens Road Bridge and the creek running under it. This is the very spot in the game where you'll go to collect rad toad eggs before Fasnacht begins. None under here. What about you, Coyote? Find any over there? Well, no luck finding rad toad eggs, but we sure did find the exact real-world bridge that the in-game version is modeled after. Following the creek will bring you to a couple of really familiar Helvetia landmarks, and boy oh boy are they amazing to see. The first is the Honey House. The Honey House is located exactly in the same spot as it is in the game and is faithfully represented in every detail. Notice the windows with their shelving displays. If you want to count the squares, you'll find them to be 5 tall by 6 wide in both the real-world Honey House and its in-game counterpart. Great job, guys! Now behind me, you'll spot the Cheese House and the field where you head back into the meadow where you'll be running for your life from super mutants and do your very best to make sure your robot parade companions remain in one piece. But we'll get to that shortly. First, let's get a closer look at the Honey House windows and see what other surprises we might find. Come on, let's check it out. Assuming there's no honeybeasts. I hope. Well, what do you know? Just like in the game, the window displays are full of teapots and steins and all kinds of kitchen antiques. Those designers really did their homework. Just a short walk down from the Honey House will bring you directly to the next stop on the parade route, the awesome Cheese House. Owned and operated by Thraron Morgan, a third-generation descendant of the original Swiss immigrants from the 1870s, the Cheese House is famous for its homemade Swiss cheese, which the Morgan family makes by hand in the traditional way that her family's been doing for generations. Hey, where's Coyote? Oh, there she is, and it looks like she's going to get some cheese before I do. Hey, I hope you're going to share. In addition to the Pickens Street Bridge, there is this iconic footbridge I'm walking on now, which will take you from the main area of the town right into the meadow, just like in the game. It's a beautiful spot to enjoy the tranquil beauty of Helvetia and get some great scenic pics. It's a beautiful spot and a perfect one on a day like today. Come on, let's head into the meadow. Now, I don't hear any rat toads chirping away or see any hopping in my direction looking for an easy lunch, so I say we head into the meadow and see what else we can find. Jeepers! Check this out, folks! Right here in the middle of the meadow, just like in the game, you'll find this wonderful little gazebo. In the real world, this is where they put Old Man Winter for everyone to enjoy and take pics with before he meets his, well, shall we say, well-deserved fiery banishment. Don't worry, he'll be back again next year, and I'm sure he'll be holding a grudge. I'd say get out your snow shovels just in case. Wow, just look at that meadow. What a great place to have a picnic on a beautiful day like today. And in the real world, you won't have to worry about any crazy super mutant mini nuke wide receivers going for the goal, that goal being you. On the far west side of the meadow, you come to the familiar church at the very edge of town. In the real world, it's the Zion Presbyterian Church. Now, this building is a little different than its in-game counterpart, as the door to enter the church is on the side rather than the front. Also, the steeple in the game version is larger and a little more ornate. However, it's roughly the same style of church and is in the exact same location, though set back a bit from the road. Now, thanks to Clara Lehman, who we'll be meeting shortly, we were able to get a look inside. Since I don't hear any scorched, I'm up for it. Let's check it out.
Okay, so fortunately it's the real world and there's no scorched. But I did want to come in, thanks to Clara for bringing us in, and show you this church because, as you can see, it is an exact in-game match. I mean, the whole setup, the size of it, everything in here, all the way up to the altar, everything is a perfect in-game match. It's a wonderful location, and we fortunately got to come inside and see it. So this is the Helvetia Presbyterian Church, and it is beautiful.
Directly across the street from the church, you guessed it, just like in the game, you'll come to the general store and post office. As you can see, the store, like all the rest of the Helvetia buildings, is replicated wonderfully. Notice the Pickens Road street sign there. It's a little further down in the real world, but this is indeed Pickens Road that I'm standing on. Come on, let's go down there and get a closer look. The store is the go-to place for all of Helvetia and supplies pretty much everything they need. In addition to being a great general store, it doubles as a post office and is home to the one and only Fasnacht Mask Museum. We'll get to see that a little later in the episode. Heading back to the center of town and to the very spot where the Fasnacht Parade begins in the game, we come to our final location, the Helvetia Star Band Hall, a community center and dance hall constructed way back in 1901. The hall became a popular spot for nearby lumber and sawmill workers from the neighboring towns who would come in and square dance, which they preferred over the traditional waltzes and polkas enjoyed by the Swiss residents. Shortly after, a rule was established that limited the time people would be allowed to square dance. Today, there's a lively mix of music here, and the Star Band Hall is the place to go for it.
Oh, mini moon fruit! Look, mini moon fruit! Awesome! Hi, folks. Here we are on the porch of the Hute restaurant, right in the heart of Helvetia. Now, you recognize it immediately because it's a wonderful in-game. Oh, hi, Clara.
Hi, Chip.
Nice to see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Clara Lehman. She is the organizer to Fasnacht, and she's going to tell you all about what she does here and what she does for the town of Helvetia. Clara, take it away.
Chip, thank you. So my name is Clara Lehman. I'm the president of the Helvetia Restoration and Development Organization. We are a volunteer community organization here in Helvetia, West Virginia. And what we do is we try to promote the heritage, development, and culture of our community so that we can keep hold of it. We're all volunteers, and we put on the event of Fasnacht, which was German for fasting night, and you see that in the game Fallout 76. What we do is we put on this event and we try really hard to give back to our community as an end result. So we repair historic buildings, we maintain archives, we help children maintain their culture and their Swiss heritage, and it's really important to us. The festival is over 50 years old. Right before Lent, oftentimes what you do is you would have a grand feast right before you would fast in order to honor your religion and Catholicism. This is not a new tradition. This is an age-old tradition. In Helvetia, we've been celebrating it in the way that we burn Old Man Winter and welcome spring since roughly 1968, 67. But it is age-old in that this tradition comes from the times of the Druids, or even from Carnival, Mardi Gras. These types of things are very old, and it's again that tradition of feasting before you fast. And while there are still religious elements to our tradition, and there are people within our community that see it as a means to practice their faith, we've also made it so it's inclusive. There are secular elements to it. We burn Old Man Winter and try to scare away winter with masks that are beautiful and artful.
David, yep.
Who has made a number of the Fasnacht masks. So he's going to point them out and tell you a little bit about them, but man, how awesome is that? So David, take it away.
All right, well, I've been making masks for many years. I've come down here for probably 20 years or so. So the first one that's in here that I did was the cuckoo clock. Unfortunately, I wanted to paint the face of the clock. It's an actual working cuckoo clock. The eagle here was one that I did. That was kind of a faster one that I made, which was a simple paper mache deal. I used a big balloon on that one. Made a simple paper mache mask and thought it looked like a beehive, and added these little bees, so when you walk they kind of fluttered around and moved and stuff. I like to try to do movement in the mask a lot of times. This one I spent the most time on. It's I've never carved anything out of wood. It took me like 13 months, I think, to do that one. This was one of my favorite ones that I did, and it's like paper mache and clay. I kind of want to do a traditional green man with it. Actually, my wife made this owl here. She did that one, but we enjoy making masks and trying to come up with new ideas all the time, and come on over. And I saw him outside, and I was like, how did you make this mask? Because it's phenomenal. I love it.
Well, it's my real head.
Okay, that's his real head.
As you know, you brought life to Fallout in a really unique way. We play the game and we see those masks in the parade, and we can get them now as part of our costumes.
Well,
you inspired that, and that is so amazing, and I'm so glad I ran into you.
as a long-time person coming down here, I'm not a local, but we've been coming down for a long time and making these masks. And when that game came out, Fallout, and they had Fasnacht masks, it was instant. Like everybody that I knew was like, "Hey, you got to check this game out because they've got our masks on the game." And I was like, "That's crazy." So it's really, I love it.
That and you have a place in video game history that will be forever.
Well, that's awesome. I love it.
It really is. So again, it's such a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you guys. Yep, take care.
It's important to just be a little crazy every once in a while.
Absolutely, and if anything, we need a little crazy. Obviously, Fasnacht in the game is a little crazy. Not as crazy as it is in the game here. But it's so much fun, and it's a wonderful festival. You get to experience Helvetia in such a beautiful way.
And speaking of beautiful ways, I'd like to take just a moment to show you just how much of an impact our Fallout community is having on this little town of Helvetia. Come on inside. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Clara, why don't you tell us a little bit about this and the significance it plays in Fasnacht?
Yeah, so the Helvetia Starband Hall is a community building, and we host Fasnacht in this building, in our historic square, and at our community hall. It's a really good time here. We sell bratwurst and sauerkraut and have really good food, and then we also have a lot of music and crafters, and it's just really beautiful and lovely. The beautiful thing about this space is we have been able to restore elements of it due to funding through Fasnacht. So your money has helped us restore our bathroom, give us hot running water, and a kitchen sink, which is really special and not always super easy when you don't have a big community that can.
Oh, so Clara, this is the bathroom you were talking about that's been restored?
Yeah, Chip. So basically, funding from Fasnacht allowed us to renovate and build actually this bathroom. In fact, my dad, who is the construction person that made it, Dad, come here. He did all the work on this and basically made it so that we have hot running water, a proper toilet and sink. And this is a building that's older. It didn't have a bathroom or hot running water. So we're really thankful that some people like this are able to do this in our community. I'm just gonna put him on the spot. This is my dad, Dan Lehman. This is Chip,
Nice to
Chip.
meet
from
Nice to
Fallout
meet you.
76.
Fallout 76, yeah. Very
So
cool.
we can't thank you enough for all you guys do to help celebrate Fasnacht and build this community the way you are, and inviting us here to share in it, because it's a big deal for the Fallout fans.
I can tell.
Yes. So,
And we like you guys, so yeah.
well, wonderful. You're a great community. Fallout's a great community, and we love you. And
Thanks,
we can't
Chip.
thank you enough for just, again, opening up your town and celebrating the way you do, because it is a lot of fun. So another great reason to come to Helvetia and visit, especially at Fasnacht, folks. When you come here, you are really contributing to growing this community and helping keep all the traditions alive and fun and doing exciting things moving forward.
So here we are with another member of the Fallout community we've run into.
Daniel Valentine from Baltimore, Maryland. Very nice to meet you.
Are you a relation to Nick Valentine?
Only in the future.
Well, Daniel, thanks for hosting this spot and bringing all this wonderful stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just like the spirit of the game. We just put out a spread and have everybody come, and we just try to take care of everybody and have a good time together. So, casual team.
After making some new Fallout friends, I headed to the meadow where tons of people were beginning to congregate. I had no idea so many people would be arriving. Wow, this is going to be an awesome parade. I got pretty busy and somehow missed all the delicious bratwurst being served in the Starband Hall, but notice Coyote is conspicuously absent, so at least one of us is feasting happily. Well, as it turns out, I guess people want to take pictures with me even without Coyote. Who'd have thought? Well, I am the Anthony Bourdain of the Wasteland after all. I can't blame him. And you can't exactly wander the wasteland without a working Pip-Boy. This guy was thrilled to discover why he was so over-encumbered. Don't thank me, thank Robco. All of a sudden, there was this crazy dance music, and the crowd went wild. Checking it out, I discovered that we were being treated to some awesome fire dancing. You hear that, old man Winter? Hit the road, Jack! And speaking of our guest of honor, here he is right in the gazebo enjoying all the photo ops he's getting before his big send-off at the conclusion of the parade. Hey, mind if I get a pic with you, dude? Oh, jeepers, your hand is cold. Ooh. So as the sunlight started to fade, everyone gathered at the meadow for a masquerade and mask judging contest. Boy, I wish I could have joined. But as Coyote predicted, finding a mask that fit just wasn't in the cards. Well, there's always next year. I'll have to get with Dave and see if he can custom make one for me. You know, I think I'll go as the Pip-Boy mascot. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, look at all these amazing masks. Gosh, people are so talented. There are so many different characters and designs. Why, there's Grover and Snuffleupagus. Bavarian Cuckoo Clock. And there were Knights Who Say Knee and Roblox and Minecraft and all kinds of original creations all ready to scare off Old Man Winter and keep him away for a whole nother year. Oh, excuse me. I'm just blown away by all the masks, Mr. Robot. What's that? It's time for the Lampion Parade to start? You don't have to ask me twice. Let's do this. Whoa, check it out, folks. I am marching in the actual Fasnacht Parade. And so can you. Each and every February, you can come to Helvetia and celebrate Fasnacht in all of its glory with one of the friendliest and most creative crowds you're likely to ever encounter. The parade follows the same route as in the game, but kind of in reverse as it starts in the meadow, then heads east down Pickens Road, where you come to the bonfire site across the street from the Blue House. It's not in front of the church like in the game, which makes a lot of sense. It's the most in-game / real-world experience you will ever have as a Fallout fan, and I can't recommend it enough. There he goes, and hopefully so does the winter cold as well. Now, you might not get a piece of legendary armor, or a real cool mask, or a triple legendary paddleball whacker, but what you do get is hours of lively music and dancing to top off the Fasnacht Celebration. And that reminds me, earlier in the day, Clara asked me to save a dance for her. Oh my, me dancing. Oh gosh, that could go terribly wrong. I guess I better get ready. Hey, this looks familiar. This is the spot where I met Shauna for my first date ever. So glad she didn't ask me to dance. Boy, what have I gotten myself into? Oh, jeepers. I hope Clara can teach me how to dance. Well, as it turns out, Clara is a wonderful dancer, teacher, and host. She is the heart and soul of Helvetia's Fasnacht Celebration and welcomes all of you to come and join in all the fun and excitement of this wonderful Swiss celebration. Okay, folks, so there you have it. That's our visit to Helvetia, West Virginia. It was a beautiful day, a beautiful morning, and we can't thank Clara enough for spending the time and taking us around and showing us really what Helvetia is all about. And again, it's another perfect example of how a community comes together in celebration of something as wonderful as Fasnacht, and how they shared it with us gamers and with the game company to create a beautiful location in the game, and an iconic one as it's one of the favorite side quests. I mean, everybody loves Helvetia. They love Fasnacht. And we got to experience for real. We got to go on the parade, we got to see it, and all thanks to Clara and the community, because they are truly the spirit of Helvetia and certainly the spirit of West Virginia. So thank you so much. And folks, come on out and visit Helvetia and support the community. Happy Fasnacht, everybody!